is good, everyone? Welcome to KGW's 3-on-3 Blazers. My name is Orlando Sanchez. Nate Hanson is in the house. Max Barr is on the ones and twos. We are a man down today.
Yeah, usually you say, I'm Orlando Sanchez, someone is on my right.
Yeah,
where's that someone?
Jared Cowley. He's a little under the weather today. And Max mentioned this. You know he's got to be pretty sick.
Absolutely.
To miss our podcast.
I mean, this is his Friday, too. So his work schedule is typically Sunday through Thursday. So this is also his Friday. And so, yeah, this is he must be down and out for the count.
And Rip City, we're going to try and do our best to stay a little bit positive. We were relying solely on Jared to bring that positive energy.
That's usually what he does. He also brings some reasoning and balance to the podcast. Yeah. So if you're into hot takes and negativity, this might be the 3-on-3 Blazers podcast for you.
That was well put, because that could be the dark path that we're going to go on today.
Yes, over the next half hour.
Because it's been a tale of a week where our mood collectively, we're all on the same page about what we thought was coming for the Blazers. We all thought that they would beat OKC. We thought it would be an undefeated week.
Yep.
And
didn't turn out that way.
No.
Real quickly, too, it didn't turn out that way. Because that was on Thursday, and the game was Thursday night. So Jared typically gives the Blazers the benefit of the doubt all season. not something a luxury you or I necessarily give them. But we decided to give it to them for a week. And about 6 hours later, it all went down the drain as they got swept in the season series by Oklahoma City.
I think the problem is that we let our guard down, man.
Yeah, we should have known better.
Like we've been down this dark path for the past couple of seasons, and for whatever reason, something was in the water, and we were like, this is the corner. This is the time.
We got hyped on the road trip and the post All-Star break Blazers thing that always is in the water out here. So we decided to jump on the train. And, we didn't last very long on that train. It derailed quickly.
Yeah. So you mentioned quickly. We'll segue into Quick, as in Jason Quick.
Oh, nice. I see what you did.
The man was, he joined us here at KGW. You can catch part of his interview on KGW.com. The topic, of course, LaMarcus Aldridge, and wouldn't that be great if he came back to Portland? And
and kind of, I mean, it was about his article that he wrote, and he talked about how there became this schism between Lillard and Aldridge that really didn't need to be there.
Right.
It was there because of the fact that they never talked about it. And so one guy thought, he's not that fond of me because I'm a young star player who might be trying to overshadow him. The other thought, I'm going to give him his space. He's a great player. He's doing everything great. And they kind of, in a sense, viewed each other as threats almost, in a sense. And we all know what happened. LaMarcus Aldridge ended up leaving. And then it was Jamal Crawford, of all people, the all-time sixth man, who kind of told them, hey, guys, you need to talk to each other. Like, I know both of you, and I know there's no bad blood here. You guys need to talk and figure this out. And they've kind of had a few conversations since then. Obviously, at the All-Star break, Aldridge, when asked if he could have any player's jersey, he said Lillard. And there seems to be a newfound mutual respect between the two that I'm sure a lot of Blazers fans wish came around 4 years ago.
There's like this weird, awkward dynamic that maybe most didn't know existed, or maybe some did. But it just shows you kind of the little things that can happen behind the scenes that can change the way a season plays out, the way a team gels together, and a non-issue that kind of was an issue.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of like life. It's like life for everyday people, just on a much bigger platform. Like, there are people that you think, for whatever reason, me and this person don't vibe together, and they're thinking the same thing, and really, there's nothing, you don't have animosity or anything to each other. You're just not really talking about it and communicating. And they said they let outside forces kind of dictate how they felt, and both of them now, a few years older, much more steady with where they are in their careers, kind of realize we let some people influence us.
So we know, at least from a Jason Quick reporting standpoint, and maybe even others have mentioned quotes about this, but how do you think Blazers fans would receive something like this in this imaginary world?
And we're doing this on Max is hating this. He hates this type of stuff.
In imaginary world, if LaMarcus Aldridge has the chance to come back, do you think it's all good?
The majority of Blazers fans, I think, would be happy. We saw yesterday through social media, as always, there's dissenting viewpoints. But I think for the most part, everyone, as long as LaMarcus Aldridge is still a good player, and he is, he's still an all-star player, as long as he was still a good player, I think people would be pretty happy to have him back. I mean, could you imagine? We're going crazy here for a minute, Max. I swear we're going to get to the question.
The smoke is coming out of the ears already.
But, could you imagine a roster with Lillard, Nurkic, Aldridge, and McCollum together? This is fantasy world. That's not going to happen.
Right.
But that looks really nice, those four together.
The only reason I ask is because even at their last game, I was still hearing boos in the crowd when LaMarcus was out there.
I don't know if you've seen LeBron's show, The Shop, on HBO, but he had Anthony Davis on. He talked about his first game back with New Orleans, said everyone was booing me as starting interest, and then I had 40 and we were winning. They were cheering me by the end of the game. That's how it goes.
Over, right?
Yeah, that's how it goes.
All right, so you know the drill. We have 3 questions. There's 3 answers because there's 3 of us. You can
typically 3 of us.
Catch that the written form on kgw.com. Jared, I know, has answers on there. As well. So,
if you want to feel better after Orlando and I bring you down for the next 20 minutes, to go read the answers on KGW.com and feel better by reading Jared's.
You heard the man. That's great advice to keep in mind there. So let's get right into it, man. The Blazers split a pair of games against likely playoff teams this past week. So given realistic potential first-round playoff matchups, what's your confidence level that the Blazers can advance to the second round, Nate?
Oh man! So here's where reality sets in. Slim to none is my confidence level in this team. It's as low as it's been since the beginning of the season.
Right.
So at the beginning of the year, I thought the Blazers would probably be around an 8 seed. One of the last teams to get into the playoffs. And of course, you're a 7 or an 8 seed, you're likely out, especially if you have to play Golden State in the first round. And I kind of feel. I don't feel they're going to drop that far, but I feel, because the question says, given realistic potential first-round playoff matchups. So for me, and there's a lot of subjectiveness in this. All of us probably have different ideas on what's realistic. For me, I don't think the 3 seed, I know the Blazers are only half game back of that right now, but I don't think that's realistic for them to attain.
Wow.
I don't see them finishing, I could see them finishing the season better or stronger than Houston or Oklahoma City, but not both of them.
Right.
And that's what it would take to be the number 3 seed. So I don't see that, in my viewpoint, being a realistic ending for the Blazers here come the end of the regular season. On the other end, I don't see them falling any further than 6. I think, and I almost would say 5 is the low point. But I think the 6th seed is as low as they could potentially fall. That's if one of these teams, whether it's the Clippers, Spurs, or Jazz, gets really hot at the end of the season. Maybe the Blazers struggle a bit down the stretch, and they fall that 6th seed. So with that in mind, with them being either a 4, 5, or 6 seed, they're likely playing Oklahoma City or Houston. If that is their seeding. And so I have no confidence in them beating either of those teams in a 7-game series. Oklahoma City, you don't even have to say it.
But you kind of do.
Well, you can't. I mean, they've had no answer from Paul George or Russell Westbrook this entire season, which is odd because a year ago they swept Oklahoma City, and this year it's the other way around. Oklahoma City has the upper hand over the Blazers. So, and then the other team, Houston. I know Portland went 2-1 against them this year, but they haven't played them since January 5th.
That's a different team.
A much different team, playing on another level right now, Houston. And so for me, I don't have any confidence that they could beat either of those teams. And even another team like the Jazz, I would, if they somehow got a matchup with them, I would pick the Jazz to beat Portland in a playoff series. And so, I mean, I hate to say it, but to me, there's slim pickings to see this team get into the second round.
Right. My confidence level is low. It's the same way, and we discussed this right after the game.
The Oklahoma City game.
Right after the Oklahoma City game, is that it just felt like the nail in the coffin.
Totally.
Because we've seen them play this team 4 times at different parts of the year, and the result is ultimately the same. And with this last game in particular, it felt as close as you can get to a playoff game.
Oh, yeah.
Here, it was a home game. They wanted that game badly.
The crowd was into it.
Right. And so when I look at all of those factors, It reminded me so much of the topics that we've discussed in the past, where it's the Blazers' big three show up, and then the supporting cast is MIA, or the bench doesn't give you enough juice to get the game. I mean, because Dame gives you 51.
I know. And
he hasn't had to do that all year.
That's what felt so deflating about that loss. Is it felt like the Blazers of old came back in arguably their biggest game of the regular season.
It was a huge moment for them.
Like, Damian Lillard hasn't scored 50 points this year, not because he's not good.
Right.
Because he's talked about this.
Yeah.
He hasn't felt the need to have to take over games near as much this year. But that shows you how much importance he placed
on
that
a doubt.
game against Oklahoma City. Because he went out there, and once he realized he had the stroke, he was shooting. It was bombs away.
Oh, yeah.
51 points.
Right.
And Yusuf Nurkic had a great first half.
He did.
C.J. McCollum played
well. He had a nice game, too.
Maurice Harkless, where did he go? Where did Headband Mo go?
Right.
Al Farouk Aminu.
Right.
I mean, he hit those 2 clutch free throws at the end of regulation to force overtime. Rodney Hood?
He had 10 points, but it wasn't pretty.
No.
And nobody shot the three well.
No.
And that was one thing that was like, we've got to get help around Dame and CJ. Yeah. So when they defend and push them away and force them to give the ball up, somebody's got to be able to help them out.
And that's why
we're right back in this situation.
I know, that's like I said, that's what's so deflating about it. It's like we kind of feel like you just turned the clock back a year ago.
Right.
You have 3 really good players, no outside shooting outside of them, and then come to the postseason, where is the help going to be for Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum? And that's why our confidence level is so low. That's also why I wish Jared was here today.
Right.
So he could try to, bring some rational and reasoning.
Right, because right now it feels foolish to say that you still have confidence because of the potential matchups that exist. With 15 games left, you're looking at OKC and you're looking at Houston. Maybe if they can somehow find a way to get that 3 seed, it's San Antonio.
And then you feel a little bit better at that point. I'm kind of interested, Max. You're a big Blazers fan. How do you feel?
Well, I'm just looking at the standings here, and there are a lot of games to go, like you guys said. Utah, I know, has the easiest schedule remaining in terms of win percentage by opponent. It's possible they could sneak up. I mean, they're basically tied with the Spurs right now, 6 and 7. So, I mean, it looks like Thunder and the Rockets are the most likely opponents, but things can change.
There's potential
things can change
for
quickly, and if the Blazers start going on a losing streak, who knows how far down they might fall.
And by default, maybe my position changes because you have another team like Utah or San Antonio
But even if Utah or San Antonio heats up and the Blazers don't get the 3 seed, well, the Blazers are still probably going to have to play, Oklahoma City or Houston.
Yeah.
Say San Antonio heats up and becomes the 5 seed and Portland
and they
becomes
get pushed.
6.
Yeah.
Well, Portland's still going to have to play the 3 seed, which is probably going to be Houston or Oklahoma City. So it's hard to find situations where they don't end up playing one of those 2 teams. And that's why the confidence level is so low for me.
I guess I would just ask you guys, so let's pretend that Nurkic doesn't get ejected at the end of that game, and they win in overtime.
Yeah.
How much would your confidence have changed?
Night and day.
Yeah, 100%.
Night and day.
180, complete 180 on that?
Absolutely, which is why I said I think we need Jared here, because I think Jared would have brought...
Jared might have brought that up.
A little bit of...
Because we're prisoners of the moment.
Orlando and I are. I mean, we felt... You're talking to 2 guys who are extremely skeptical about the Blazers in the postseason. Jared is much less skeptical than us. And so Orlando and I almost feel betrayed. Like, we gave them our trust last week.
Oh, totally.
And they immediately...
And we're taking it out on them this week.
And they just immediately threw it away. This is emotions as much as
it's a little bit, it's a little bit personal. Yeah. For sure.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, going down to L.A. and beating a pretty hot Clippers team, that's nothing to sneeze at.
No, it's a nice win.
Yeah.
It's a nice win.
Speaking of prisoners of the moment.
But
But we know what's on the horizon here, and that team you met in similar conditions, and the result stayed the same.
Yeah.
All right, so let's flip the script a little bit with question number 2.
Okay.
And let's just say, if Portland is going to advance beyond the first round of the playoffs this season, which player is key to making that happen? If you could choose just one.
I love this follow-up question because it's bringing up a hypothetical we both said has like no possibility of happening if they get past
just rained on the whole thing.
They did it. They did it.
Yeah, they did it. All right. Yes, they're there. So when in a month and a half, when Orlando and I look extremely foolish and they're playing like Golden State or someone in the second round,
and we're saying, can they make it out of the conference finals?
Yeah, when we're on that horse, the one player I think we're going to be looking back and being like he was the most important one to me, and it's not even close. It's Jusuf Nurkic for me.
I love that you went there.
I know the league has drifted to three-point shooting, and I know last year that was a big reason why the Blazers struggled against the Pelicans. Pelicans knocking down threes and able to play small, while Portland was not able to do that. But Jusuf Nurkic, I mean, we saw it against Oklahoma City. Max just brought it up.
Right.
Like the second he was ejected in overtime, Oklahoma City just went at Enes Kanter.
You knew it was
They
over.
knew there was no one there to defend the rim. And Jusuf Nurkic brings that for the Blazers defensively. He completely changes them as a defensive team. And so for me, and in addition to offense, how we've seen him grow. Last year he shot just 47% in the series against the Pelicans. He wasn't efficient at all. This year we've seen him become, especially in the year 2019, become efficient both scoring and passing.
Right.
I mean, he's averaging a double-double, points and rebounds in the new year, and he's averaging almost 4 assists.
He's elevated his game.
Absolutely. And so when you take both ends of the floor into account, Jared's mind, if he's listening right now, is being blown that I talked about defense for 30 seconds.
I don't like it any more than most of you do either.
Yeah.
I don't like defense.
But to me, those two things combined, he's the most important player. And I know we've talked about other guys like Maurice Harkless, how he's an X factor, but to me, last year the Blazers couldn't keep Nurkic on the floor against the Pelicans. He only played 23 minutes per game in that series. If that happens again and they can't keep him on the floor, they got no shot at advancing to the second round.
I don't think that's a hot take at all.
No,
I think that's fact.
Absolutely. And so, to me, he is the most important player. They need him not only to be efficient, they need him to be the player he's been the last 2 months if they're going to advance.
I nearly went with Jusuf Nurkic on this answer, but for me, I'm basing it off of I feel like I know what I'm getting from Nurk now.
Okay.
And he's been so consistent that I've put him kind of in that category with Dame and CJ that this is what you're getting from them.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable with them.
Okay.
So I went outside of the box, and like you mentioned, Maurice Harkless for me has just been that guy.
Okay.
And my position on him has kind of changed as he's played better. But when I see him not show up in games, the Blazers' success level goes down tremendously.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, when you have guys like, and we've mentioned this so many times with Damian Lillard in particular being like, this guy's our X factor. And when you see instant results when he scores in double figures, like, it's right there. Like, this guy has to show up. And it's not just shooting the ball. It's not just, we need, him to be able to knock down three-pointers or be aggressive offensively. But defensively, in these series against Oklahoma City or Houston, he is going to be a huge factor in defending these guys.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is the two players we've chosen because of what they do on both ends of the floor.
Right.
In the regular season, me and you especially, we never talk about defense, but we understand the importance come playoff time.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with a team that you're already so familiar with and is already so familiar with you. Those type of defense really matters and shows in the postseason.
At most levels, whether it's college, NBA, high school, like defense never leaves you. Whereas offense, you could have an off night, you can have a cold night, but if you turn this into a grind and defensively you're right, and like Jusuf Nurkic is such a huge factor in that, they can win games that way.
Absolutely. And Maurice Harkless, you talked about when he shows up, instant results. What are they, like 11-1,
yeah, 12-1? A game.
When he scores 10
and it
points
was the
or
Memphis fluke.
You want to know another random stat? Kevin Calabro threw this one out during the Phoenix Suns fourth quarter for the 5 people who were watching with me at that point. Apparently, the Blazers are like 13-0 when Seth Curry scores double figures this year, which is interesting as well.
It shows you just how important these role guys are.
And how important it is to get some shooting outside of Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum on the outside.
And it just circles back to that OKC game. Like, every time I see these little nuggets that we've talked about all season long, that was the perfect example of their issues.
And it just circles back to the Pelicans series last April in the postseason.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's kind of left us all, that's lingered.
Yeah.
We still feel that.
All right, let's move on to number 3, which is prediction time.
Yes.
I believe we have Jared's predictions.
I believe Max has them in hand.
Okay.
So that's good to have.
So Portland plays 4 games between now and the next time that we meet. Friday, they are at the Pelicans, who are 30-40 on the season. Saturday, at the Spurs, they're 39-29. They're home on Monday against the Pacers, 43-25. And then on Wednesday against the Dallas Mavericks, who are 27-40. Which games did the Blazers win? Which games did the Blazers lose?
So I believe we've had, since Jared crazily picked the Blazers to start off 4-0 on that road trip when they did do that. I'm still angry at them for that.
I know.
I think we've been the same for a couple of weeks now, all 3 of us. And I have a feeling that could very much be the case.
Me too.
Again this week. I'm going to say the Blazers go 3-1.
I knew it.
I'm done giving them benefit of the doubt after what they pulled on me last week.
I think 3-1 is still generous in my eyes.
Oh, generous. Well,
but I mean, I still went 3-1 as well. But.
So Friday against the Pelicans. The Pelicans, man, what? It just went downhill quickly for them this year. And it's still just kind of fading away. And I think the Blazers, even though that playoff series was, now almost a year ago, I think they like the idea of sweeping the regular season series against them the following year. So I expect them to take care of business on the road against New Orleans. The game I have them losing is the very next day at San Antonio. Spurs are fantastic at home, and they're really hot right now, in part because they've played a lot of games at home recently. So I have the Spurs knocking off the Blazers, which will be the second of a road back-to-back for Portland. And then they come back home and they take care of business at home against. I know the Pacers game is one you.
They're good.
Yeah, they're a good team, but I mean, without Oladipo, I just
you can't take them seriously.
No, they're like the Portland of the Eastern Conference.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
They're just kind of like they're a good team,
right?
But no one expects them to get out of the first round in the East, so that's kind of what they are. And Portland's a better team than Indiana right now, and it's at Moda. And the Mavericks, chalk that one up at home for Portland.
Mavericks have lost 6 straight. New Orleans has lost 4 straight.
I know. I couldn't even justify picking my boy Doncic.
Right, as bad as you wanted to.
I know. I really did.
And you've seen him beat him before.
Yeah.
So
he cost me a Rip-It championship.
He really did, man. Never forget.
No,
never forget.
Never.
But I've got a 3-1 as well. They're losing at San Antonio. You mentioned they are fantastic. Second best home record in the Western Conference right now.
26-7.
They are just tough to beat at home, and on a back-to-back, that makes it tough as well. So 3-1, which I still think is. Giving them some benefit of the doubt?
Well, I mean, if they go 3-1, then they're going to stay in that 3 to 5 seed conversation, which is, as a Blazers fan, right where you want them. Max, did Jared go a different route than us?
He did.
Oh!
What?
Did he go 4-0?
He's got him going 4-0.
Oh, no! Oh, no!
Oh, man. I knew it.
A ray of sunshine
do
you
have an explanation for his picks at all?
It's pretty long. Give it a read. It's on KGW.com.
Attaboy,
yeah. Do you remember why he picked them to beat San Antonio? That particular game?
He dropped a haymaker even from home.
Oh, gosh. Jared, I know you're listening, man. You can't do that to us and then stay at home. You can't pick them to beat... Did they already lose at San Antonio this year?
I'd have to
I believe DeRozan went off in that game, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty confident they've already lost in San Antonio once. San Antonio's 6-game winning streak. Awesome at home.
Yes, you were right. They lost in San Antonio.
And they won in Portland.
And they won both games in Portland.
Yeah.
Man, Jared, I want to argue with you right now.
The audacity.
Well,
Nate is foaming at the mouth right now.
The good news about this is I believe he's 2 games ahead of us in the season pick. We're going to pick one up this week.
We can use that.
Last year he choked the lead in that, too, at the end of the season.
Man!
He might be sicking on the couch, but I can still kick shots at him.
And now you've got kids who are listening that are fans of you.
Oh, that's what I was going to get to.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Story time.
So story time. Jared usually takes over and gives us, a really
beautiful nugget.
Yeah, a very eloquent, articulate 2-minute speech about why Max Barr is so great.
Yeah. It's more like 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Max, tune his own horn. Well, guess what? You don't get any time this week, Max. We're not talking about you in story time. Well, who we're talking about this week?
Are we really doing this?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, this is great.
Oh, yes, yes.
We're bringing it back to my first ever Rip It Championship last year for the loyal Blazers 3-on-3 fans. I got a tweet a few days ago. I, like Orlando, had been off for a few days. And I came back to work yesterday to this little tweet from Matthew at Reverend Romulus. My kids were super excited about your recent Rip It win. Congratulations.
Wow.
And I have to tell you, we've been doing this podcast for almost 2 full seasons now. This is the highlight of the podcast right here. So thank you, Matthew, at Reverend Romulus. I hope I'm saying that right. But I do it for the kids.
Well done, man.
And I appreciate the support, and I'm here to win a second one, hopefully in 5 minutes.
I love this.
Make the picks to win a third one.
Oh, man.
It may be the highlight for me, too.
Yeah.
There we go.
And shout out to Matthew. Matthew, we love you and your kids.
And your kids.
Thanks for the
Love
support.
the support.
Well done, y'all.
All right, Max.
You guys
take
ready-
it away.
you guys ready
Super
to
nice
rip it?
things. You're great. Rip it.
All right.
You're on fire today, man.
Oh, thank you. Well, I had to bring it up because Jared's not here.
Guys, it's great to be back with another week of Rip It. And as we just discussed, we're coming off Nate's first win ever. And it was a win that had Jared completely shook.
Yeah.
It did.
Historic.
He didn't know.
Get well soon, Jared.
Yeah.
Get well
I
soon.
mean,
That could
that
be
may be
what-
why he's sick.
You put him down.
Dude, I think he was intimidated. He was afraid to come back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Breaking news here on the podcast. Let's find out how you did last week before we get to this week's game. So we're going back to that infamous loss to the Thunder. There were 2 questions about this game. The first one was about defensive stats. The question was which player would finish with the most combined steals and blocks. It was between Russell Westbrook, Maurice Harkless, and Yusuf Nurkic. Jared and Orlando went with Russell Westbrook. Nate, you went with Mo Harkless.
Oh, I don't feel good about this.
Well, Westbrook, no steals, no blocks.
Oh, yeah!
Goose egg.
Oh!
Harkless, 1 steal, 1 block.
Oh, baby!
For a total of 2.
Oh, gosh.
Nurkic, 2 steals, 1 block.
No, Nurk!
Nurk wins it. None of you guys get that Rip It point.
He didn't even play overtime.
Yeah.
Got his work in, man.
Yeah.
He got a lot of work in.
So, nobody on the board there. Next question from the same game. You guys talked about this a little earlier in the pod. The question was which team will make more 3-pointers? And both came into the game averaging exactly 11 threes per game. Jared picked the Thunder, kind of hedging on his game pick.
Yes.
Orlando, you and Nate both went with the Blazers.
I think it paid off.
The Blazers were 9 for 41 from 3.
Man.
Yeah.
Not good.
Max, you shoot better than that. Like a lot better.
Way better than that.
Yeah.
Thunder, 8 for 27.
No.
Blazers got it anyway.
Yes! We did it.
Oh, the drama.
What did they shoot? 8 of 27?
8 of 27 for
Well,
the Thunder.
they're like plus 50 points in the paint against the Blazers that night.
Yeah, so congrats to both of you guys.
Woo! We're on the board.
Yes, that's all that really
One
matters.
step closer to a back-to-back.
Oh.
Next question,
so.
Blazers versus Suns. This was about rebounds. Which big man would grab the most rebounds? It was between Nurkic, Suns rookie DeAndre Ayton, and Enes Kanter. Nate, you went with Ayton.
I did.
Jared and Orlando, in a surprise to me, both picked Kanter.
Whoa.
And this is when Jared admitted that he was completely shook.
Yes. That sounds like shook Jared.
Yeah. Rattled.
Kanter with 8 boards.
Ooh, nice.
Pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
Ayton also with 8 boards.
Oh, it's going to be Nurkic.
Nurkic, 9.
Oh, Nurkic, you are killing us.
Do you know how many minutes he played in that game? Like, he
I
didn't
don't.
play in the
I don't
fourth
have
quarter, did he?
He can't have played in the fourth quarter.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's why I went with Ayton.
And that's why I went with Kanter. I was like,
I'd be out
Nurk
there.
will not be out there.
So just to recap, each of these first 3 questions has come down to 1 stat.
Yes.
That's how tight Rip It is sometimes.
And the 2 we've all missed have been because we didn't trust Yusuf Nurkic at all.
Right.
Even though we just praised him and said he's the most important player.
Next question, Blazers at Clippers. The question was which player would score the most points? Danilo Gallinari, CJ McCollum, or Sweet Lou?
I got a DMP, I think.
Gallinari was rested.
Yeah.
He did not play in this game.
I'm getting good at those.
I'm with you on that one, too.
Yep. Orlando, you and Nate, you both picked Gallo.
Yep.
Yeah, we did.
Jared went with Sweet Lou. The real Lou, not the glorified Lou, who went off in the fourth quarter and he scored 35 points. CJ got super hot. Lou Williams had 18 points. But CJ, after a cold first half, just caught fire.
So Jared chose real Lou Williams?
He did.
So he did not get it?
He did not get it.
Right.
Nobody got that one.
Yep.
Should have picked glorified Lou.
Yep.
So it came down to this, the wild card question of the week.
I think that's why he went off. In his head, he's like, that guy called me glorified Lou.
Yeah, I'm going to show him who the real Lou is.
The question for the wild card was how many Blazers would score in double figures against the Suns?
Oh.
Orlando, you said 4. Jared also said 4, and Nate, you said 5.
Oh, please tell me this is how I won.
So, Lillard, you can probably guess, was in double figures with 18.
Yeah.
CJ, 26.
Yeah.
Nurkic, 14.
Oh, okay, that's 3.
Seth Curry,
Yeah.
22.
Oh,
That's why Calabro brought that up.
He was in double figures, all right.
Yeah.
don't do it, Max.
Do it.
Don't
Give me a fifth, baby.
Enes Kanter with 12.
Yes.
No.
That means
Oh, yeah.
Nate Hanson,
baby.
a streak is alive.
It is alive and well.
He wins Rip It with a score of 2 out of 5. Congratulations. Orlando, 1 out of 5 for you. Jared, 0 for 5.
That's why Jared sat out
goes,
today.
"Oh,
He knew
man."
that.
He really was shook.
Whoa, he's still shook.
Wow.
That's why he didn't. That's why he. I'm saying Jared pretended to be sick today.
Oh,
he knew
oh
he
my
went over.
goodness.
What
Oh
a
my
time to be
Conspiracy
alive.
theory wormhole.
Oh my
I want to
goodness.
dedicate that win before we move on to Matthew's kids. That one was for you.
We love you, Matthew.
Yep.
All right, let's quickly get to this week's
Going
game.
for a three-peat
Incredible.
now, man.
Three-peat.
Look
Wow.
at this.
This is incredible
What
stuff.
world do we live in?
Look,
Oh my-
we weren't keeping track of
Whoa.
it when you and Jared were winning them all, which is your fault. But I
Sounds
won
like-
2.
All right. So this week, it's a great time of year. The NBA playoff race is heating up. It's college basketball tournament season.
Yes.
So this week's Rip
Cougs
It,
are already out.
the Cougs are out. This week's Rip It, it's going to have a little bit of college flair to it.
Oh.
So let's get to it. So no, Jared's not here, obviously, but he did text me his answers. So he is involved.
Okay.
Did you tell him he went over in this text conversation?
No.
Oh, you didn't. Oh.
I did not.
Man, he's going to find out listening. He's
Yeah.
going to be so sad.
Yeah, it's going to be heartbreak.
Here we go. Blazers at Pelicans. The SEC tournament is well underway. Which former Kentucky Wildcat
Wow.
will grab the most rebounds in this game?
Julius Randle.
Is it Anthony Davis, Julius Randle, or the man who was ruled ineligible before he could play a game for Kentucky, Enes Kanter?
Oh.
Orlando, what do you think? Most rebounds.
We'll go Davis.
All right, Nate.
I got to go AD as well.
Jared picked Randle.
Oh.
I like
Jared.
it. I like it.
He didn't pick Cantor again, huh? He didn't go back to that
No,
one,
no.
huh? That's too bad.
Did not.
Yeah, you like them W's.
Yeah.
Man.
Blazers at Spurs. Which total will be greater from these former Pac-12 greats? Is it total assists by former Colorado Buffalo Derek White? Total rebounds by 2016 Pac-12 Player of the Year Jakob Poeltl?
Really? He was... Okay.
Wow.
Or
Didn't know
total
about that.
assists by 2009 Pac-10 Tournament
Oh.
MVP
Woo!
DeMar DeRozan?
So
So to recap, you got assists for Derek White, rebounds for Poeltl, or assists for DeRozan. Which total will be greatest? Nate, what do you think?
assists for White.
Okay. Jared went with DeRozan assists. Orlando?
You can chalk me down for... I'm going with the star player. I'll go with DeRozan.
Okay.
He's going to be scoring too much to be passing it around, man. I learned my lesson after Doncic.
Man, you are
I'd have
scarred.
3 Rip It
You are
championships.
scarred.
All right, next question. Blazers versus Pacers. Which former player from the ACC will score the most points in this game? Is it former Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket Thaddeus Young, former Duke Blue Devil Seth Curry, or former Wake Forest Demon Deacon Al-Farouq Aminu?
Question again?
Most points, Thad Young, Seth Curry, or Aminu?
I have to imagine they're all fairly close.
Yes,
then.
they are. They're all around 10 per game, roughly. So Jared went with the Chief, Aminu.
Ooh.
Orlando, what do you think?
I'll go Seth.
Okay, Nate?
Oh, man. That's why I'll go Thad.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was going to go with Thad, but I'll go with
I'm
Thad.
surprised he went Chief.
I am too.
Blazers versus Mavs. Which former Big Ten player will make the most threes?
Most threes.
Is it Devin Harris of Wisconsin?
Man, when was he there? Like 20,000 years ago?
Former Big Ten Player of the Year, Evan Turner.
Oh. Ohio State?
Maryland star Jake Layman.
Oh, I forgot Maryland's in the Big Ten.
Or the pride, they are now, or the pride of Illinois, Myers Leonard.
Oh, what? Wow, what was the question?
Yeah, like they rattle you by the time you get to the end.
I know. Most threes in this game.
Oh, threes.
Harris,
Oh, they don't have to make them.
E.T.,
No,
Layman.
You're saying
or
made threes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Most made threes, or Myers. So these, I mean, none of these guys averages a lot of threes.
No.
About one.
I was going to say one could get the job done.
Yeah. One could very easily win this. So what do you think, Orlando?
I'm going Layman.
Layman, okay. Jared also went Layman.
No way.
Yes.
So what were my other options again?
You got Devin Harris.
This
You got
is how you
Devin
win
Harris
chips.
or Myers or E.T.
Those are my options?
Those are your options. It's ugly out here.
His eyes lit up, podcasters. Like,
Oh my gosh.
if you could see.
I need an answer.
Devin Harris.
Okay. All right.
Was he there when Ron Dane was there? Like, gosh. He's been in the league forever.
Final question, the wild card. In which of the next 4 games will the Blazers score the most points? Pels, Spurs, Pacers, or Mavs? Which team will they score the most points against? Wins and losses doesn't matter. What do you think, Nate?
Pelicans.
Jared went with Dallas. Orlando?
That was going to be my pick. Let's go Pacers.
Okay.
Ooh.
And that wraps it up. It's another week of Rip It.
Man, I tell you what, if I have a three-peat, I'm going to be praising the Thad Young and Devin Harris.
Oh, man.
My goodness. I can't believe this. Those are my ride or dies now for the next week.
Ride that hot hand, man.
Dude, you know, some of us have to be good in clutch moments.
Well, somehow, someway, we all survived this podcast.
Yes.
Get well soon, Jared.
Jarrett, yes, please. Unless you loved hearing us talk about how awesome we are.
So get well soon, Jared.
Also, you get points on Rip It when you show up.
Yeah. Well, you guys know the drill. Please leave us those 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
Please subscribe.
And shout out one more time to Matthew's kids.
We out.